Hi everyone, I'm Stella from Meeple University, and this is Tarrant.
And I just walked in off the street. No, not really.
Lying.
From
You
Meeple University.
married to me for a while, you want just... Anyways, welcome to our review and top 5 video this time. We pick a designer. So this is a top 5 designer series where we pick a designer that we favor, or one of our favorite designers I should say, and we pick a number of their games to have to be my top 5 and your top 5.
Indeed.
And this time we have
Phil Walker Harding. So we're going to talk about Phil Walker Harding in general, then go through our top 5 games each from his collection.
You're gonna talk in general about Phil Walker Harding? Is your buddy or something?
Well,
I'm kidding.
in general about his games. So
yes.
Yeah, here we are talking with Phil about 4 years ago, I think this was, in Canberra. We did meet him at one of the local conventions.
We did interview. He's really lovely, like really, really lovely. He actually reminds me of you a little bit at the time, just a little bit awkward. Well, not in a bad way. Sorry, Phil, if you watch this. It's a really cute way. It's just go there. You wouldn't know he's the Phil Walker Harding when he walks in. It's just like really down to earth, really sweet. And we had interview with him, and he accidentally shared kind of like where he lives, so I had to edit that out. Anyways, he's a prolific designer and he lives in Australia, in a different city than us, but he designed
a lot of games.
like a lot.
Yeah, he's got a very large catalogue, and he plays very much in the Gateway to Gateway Plus space. I think of the games we've played, I don't think I would call any of them true medium.
Yeah.
They range from light to light medium, but there are a few games in there that, as really quality Gateway Pluses, simple rules but some really deep strategies. So he's got quite a good collection.
For sure. So, without further ado, we will share our top 5 of Phil Walker Harding designs from Tarrant.
And we'll go back and forward, except where we overlap. And on number 5, we sort of overlap. So we both go Egyptian.
Egyptian theme.
Your number 5 is Emotep, and Emotep the
Duel.
and I prefer Emotep the non-duel.
Wow, okay, so basically the same game, but this is the dual version as you can see, but the title of course, and we played this years ago. So some of these games we won't have it for a long time near the start of our journey of board game playing collections and so on, and some we just acquired recently.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Emotep, it's all about, in both cases, it's all about building up your pyramids and your obelisks through a system of drafting different coloured cubes out of a common display. And it's one of those, who forces the other person into going last is the one who often gets the benefits. So,
and for that very reason, that's why the dual version, it's so tight. It's seriously, it's like no room for errors. Well, there is really, but you just want to make sure that you just, have that opportunity so that the opponent has to do this or that is less beneficial for them. It's so juicy, it's so good like that.
Yeah, with Emotep, your choices are to go onto a boat or to sail that boat to gain the benefits.
Somewhere.
With the duel, there's a 3x3 grid, and as you fill up that grid, that's when you start to go away and pick up the materials. This game has really nice components. I remember Phil talking about that as well. Just big chunky cubes that you get to build things with, which is a lot of fun as well.
So very tactile, very good, very tight for me for the duel, and that's Emotep.
Yes.
We get to number 4, and coincidentally, it's the same again. Doesn't happen very often when we have the same list, but this number 4 is Sushi Go.
It's really where it all began. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where it began. Certainly, that's where it got big. This is
yeah, so certainly not his first one, but this is where it started big. And who's Falcke Harding? Oh, the one that's done Sushi Go. I introduced this game to my sister's family, who usually don't play board games, and then her and her husband and her 3 kids bought Sushi Go after I introduced to them and played as family. It's amazing.
It really has become one of the seminal light drafting games of our time. Sort of took over where, I guess, where Seven Wonders was the first pure drafting game, this became the gateway version of it. And it does it so well by being really cute, having a series of simple objectives to try to meet.
And it's food themed sushi. I love sushi, and that is always a great gateway for people for drafting. Like, what's drafting, and then how you can slightly being mean to opponents in a really good way. We've got a meetup in Melbourne, a fortnightly meetup, and there are lots of newbies in the board game community, and then that would be a good one to start. One of the good ones to start games. Introduce them to drafting and food theme, and it's also lovely. I'm hungry now.
Yes.
Okay, that's Sushi Go.
Sushi Go. Okay, number 3 is where we start to diverge. And my number 3, it's a game that it's not quite out yet. I believe it's out later this year. And it's a game called Busy Beaks. It's interesting for me to have this here, I think, because it is it's a very light game. It's the sort of card drawing, set collecting game that I would have played when I was much younger. And it's not the sort of thing I usually play in a hobby gaming space, because so much of it is the luck of the card draw. But there's some really clever light mechanisms in here. You're trying to collect sets of 5 birds, 5 matching birds, and there's 7 different birds, and each of them has an ability on it which allows you to pick up cards in a certain way to collect those sets. So there'll be one that lets you pick up 2 in a column, there'll be one that lets you pick up 2 in a row, there'll be one that just lets you draw 3 blindly off the deck.
But they are the same cards, the one that you want to collect and the one that has got the power. So that's the really fun thing about it.
And I think this to me, I probably wouldn't play it in the hobby space very much because it is kind of that light family card game. But I think this to me, his whole collection does it, but this to me typifies what Falcke Harding is so good at. He has a gateway version of almost every mechanism on the market with some smarts built into it. And I think, I hope this does well, because I think this could be one of the... It could replace a lot of those simple card draw set collecting games that I would have played 10, 20 years ago.
And one thing is amazing about this one, it's not only he designed it, but he also developed it. This is one of the first, I think, 4 games that he had as a designer, as a publisher, Joey Games. So this is one of the, there are like a few others. This is one of them, and this is amazing. And
oh wow.
So disclaimer as well, some of these games we may or may not have, work with the publishers to create videos, but this opinion is totally ours.
Yeah. This is also cool because it showcases some Australian birds. It's got some nice sort of almost craft type of art, like paper craft art. But yeah, this is a really great game in its genre.
I really enjoy that as well. Continue to be hungry. Lol, my number 3 is Sushi Roll. So this is the dice rolling version of Sushi Go. So it's not as simple as that, but still simple, where you actually roll the dice in a really cute conveyor belt and you pass it around, and every time you pass it around, everyone rolls it, and then you collect the dice and then gain the points that way. That's basically it. It's super cute. It is food. It plays actually 5 players. I would think that it would play higher. It could play higher, but anyway, it doesn't matter. 5 players. Yeah, this is another version of Sushi Go, and I really highly recommend it because I think it's more tactile. It's not just the cards, and it's rolling the dice and get sushi, and that's it.
Yeah, this one, I think the fact that you re-roll the dice every time they get passed around, that makes it less for me. A little bit less control over what's going on. But it's still a good addition to the sushi drafting family. Our number 2, and we share the same number 2.
Again!
This is a relatively new game out from Cranio Creations, and this is called My Shelfie. And this is a collaboration between Phil Walker Harding and another Australian designer, Matt Dunstan, who's a little bit more known in the medium space.
I can see Phil's design and Matt's design combined together, where you stack, not just a board game, could be anything that you stack on your shelf.
Yep, so this is a grid, this is a drafting and grid placement game. There is a big grid of tiles, which are all like books and ornaments and board games
And cats.
and things that you might put on a shelf. There's a big grid of those, and you can only take them from the outside of that grid, so everyone's drafting from this common grid. Slotting them in so they drop down to the bottom, Connect 4 style, and you're trying to build up a complete shelf which meets a series of objectives. So you've got personal objectives, common objectives, standard objectives. Very typical sort of thing for a grid placement game.
The drafting is interesting as well, where you pick the ones. There are certain rules on what you can take, what you can't take. You can take as many as one tiles as you want, as long as it meets the criteria. So it has just enough. It's like it's simple enough rules. It's just enough things that you want to achieve, but you can't achieve everything.
Yeah, and I think
fun game.
It adds those. There's a lot of games that have these elements to them, but this is again a clever little draft. The Connect 4 gravity style of things is a really good feature.
It is, yeah.
And there's aspects where you're trying to make clusters of things, not have clusters of things, and it comes together really well.
Yeah, indeed, that's My Shelfie.
All right, so now we come to our number 1 games by Phil Walker Harding. We do differ on these, so separate games. My number 1 is this one here, Cacao. This one came out. This came out a fair while ago. It's by Z-Man Games, and this is a tile placement game, but it does it in a really clever way, which I don't think I've seen anywhere else. It's kind of it's really intuitive, but to me it feels unique. And you're making a checkerboard pattern of tiles with your workers on it versus tiles that will score you points in some sort of way. And in your standard board game style, there's about 5 different tiles that score you points in different ways. Emotep does the same thing, 4 different ways of getting the points. But the worker tiles that you place will have 4 workers distributed around the edges. And when a worker tile gets placed next to a scoring tile, the number of workers on that edge resolves how many times you activate it. And so sometimes you'll have like 3 on one side and 1 on the other. Sometimes I'll do all of them. And there's enough clever sequencing in there that
Very
you've got
clever.
to do. Because you've got the whole game to build up on water, for example. But you've got a limited storage for cacao beans. And so you want to take an action which lets you gather them, but then every so often you need to break it up with an action that makes you spend them. Otherwise, you're going to waste workers.
Almost made my top 5. It's really close.
This is more so than any of his other games. It's unlike anything else. And I say that because, I said before, he's got a lot of games where he's got a really great gateway version of something quite familiar. Summer Camp is a very gateway deck builder. So we've got Planted is another recent one that's a very gateway
yes.
card drafter. But this one feels a little bit different, and I do thoroughly enjoy it. So, for me, Cacao is his finest game on the market.
My number 1 of Phil Walker Harding design is ta-da! One of the greatest, if it's not the greatest, engine building of all the time. Not only it has huge marble dispenser, that's not the reason, but it just feels so good when you take those cards, put in your tableau, and try to activate and try to chain everything together. It is awesome. It is a really, really good game. It is also available, I believe, online on Board Game Arena and such. I think our friend Luke really addicted to playing this on Board Game Arena, which, not surprised, is a great game.
Yeah, it's a clever, quick little engine builder because you're going to be spending your turn gaining new cards to complete, or drawing marbles out of a marble dispenser, or putting those marbles onto your contracts essentially to complete them. And then each time you complete something, it will make one of those 3 actions more powerful in some way. And as you build that up, it snowballs. Mm-hmm. It's got a bit of a Splendor feel in that way. Yeah. But it expands it with the marble tray, which is both fun and randomizing.
It's so fun. It's so tactile. It's so engine building. It's just one of those games that once you finish, like, oh, is that it? Oh, I want to keep playing. I want to try again. So it probably ends at the right time, and you want to try again, try different strategies. And then it's Gizmos. Please do play it. If you like engine building, and if you like tactile games, this is it. It's medium. It's not very light. It's not Gateway, so it's just a little bit above, a few steps above it. Gizmos.
Yes.
And that is it. All our games, all our top 5 games. Really, it's like less than 10 all up because of the overlap. Yeah, overlapping of Phil Walker Harding's. Congratulations for doing such amazing jobs. And I am expecting more from Phil through his own publishing company, Joy Games. So watch out for that. They went on Kickstarter a while back, so now they are trying to fulfill the games to all the backers. So I'm hoping for that to come out again. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Now, question of the day is, what's your favorite Phil Walker Harding design? Please let us know in the comment section. I would love to know. And I know that some of you probably like, what? Where's Barron Park? Because that's one of the famous Phil Walker Harding design. Well, it's polyomino, and I'm not usually good at polyominoes, and we haven't actually played that.
For that reason.
Yes, for that reason. So, so is that Barron Park? Please let us know. Please convince us why we should play that game. And let us know in the comments. We would love to check it out. And maybe there's another game that we missed. Please let us know as well. Well, from Phil Walker Harding. There's another one that's actually Silver and Gold. That's also great. It's a flip and write. So is that maybe your favorite game from Phil Walker Harding? Let us know. And if you've been enjoying this video, if you can, please hit that like button and subscribe to us. We'll do video like this and more. I'll be really grateful, and hopefully we will see you again next time for another designer series and any other videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.